What's up, everybody? Ricky Whitman here from Most Valuable Podcast, here with a new video idea for you guys. What we're doing is we're kind of reacting to the comments today, and we're going to start these with the fast breaks, see how you guys like them, see what you digging them, you not digging them. We're going to respond to you guys, though. I got some comments from this past week's Fast Break podcast, the comments that you had, and I'm going to kind of give my thoughts to extend the conversation with you guys. So this week we talked about, can the Spurs upset the Warriors? Obviously not. We talked about Kyle Lowry. We talked about the draft lottery. And then we did our 4.0 mock draft lottery edition. And the first comment we got comes from Alaton from the Warriors and Spurs video. He says, I love Golden State Warriors style of play, but let's not pretend they don't have weaknesses. They are weak in the paint. They can go cold with shooting, and they are vulnerable to physical play. All the things that Spurs can use against them, but I still think that Golden State Warriors will win. And that's really the thing. Like, coming into this series, and we saw it game one, Kawhi Leonard, that's the physicality. That's where the Spurs get most of their physicality. He was driving that team, especially defensively. And this whole series, I mean, now we're looking back on it, but without that physicality there, this Spurs team kind of lost their mojo, kind of lost, like Pop said after game two, they lost their spunk. They didn't believe that they can win. And the thing with these Golden State Warriors that I think about is because of their issues in the paint. I mean, Zaza didn't play in game three, and they are, if you get a physical player against them, that could do some damage to them. Who's a guy that they are going to be going up against in the NBA Finals? It's LeBron James, one of the most physical players in the NBA, so he is going to pose some problems to the Golden State Warriors, and that's kind of what I think is, how's the finals going to go with LeBron with some confidence and that physicality? Also on the Warriors and Spurs, we got Pedro Breland saying, don't reset Spurs team. I think they signed Chris Paul this offseason. He is defense and can run the offense. I think that's what would put them over the Warriors next season. Also, I see it going to 6, maybe 7, if everyone on the Spurs steps up, but Cavs-Warriors finale. And that's it. That is it. Like, the Spurs, this series would have went 6 or 7 if Kawhi Leonard was healthy, and that's kind of where I'm going to put the if everyone steps up. Obviously, Kawhi can't step up if he didn't play games 1, 2, 3, and now he's not going to play game 4. So this Spurs team in the offseason is going to be interesting. What they do, point guard will be an interesting position. Do they go get a Chris Paul? Do they go try to get a Derrick Rose? Chris Paul, I think, would fit with the Spurs, would fit with that Popovich kind of mentality. The only thing is Chris Paul going to want to go to the Spurs and kind of get maybe look like a ring chaser in a sense? Or would he say, you know what, I'm going to stay with the Clippers to kind of make everything okay here in LA? I really don't know yet what Chris Paul is going to do. Then we're moving over to the draft lottery. We got Jesus is my King 777 says, Kings really need both their picks with Bodon coming over from overseas and Rudy Gay opting out. They have a ton of young talent and a ton of money to spend on free agents. And good thing they got to keep their picks, because now they can go out and, to me, get that point guard with that 5th overall pick, maybe a Dennis Smith Jr., maybe even a Frank, maybe a De'Aaron Fox if he's there, only if he's there. Don't go ahead and strangle me in the comment section. But the Kings now have the opportunity to get their point guard at 5 and then look to that 2nd pick and get whatever they need. It could be a small forward, could be another big down low. They can really use whatever they want. So they really have the option to gain that young talent. And now, like you said, they do have money that they can spend. My only question is, who wants to go play in Sacramento? They're not a team that is going to, like, if I'm a big free agent by myself, if I'm going to will them to the playoffs, we're not going to compete with the Warriors. So that's my only thing, is what big free agents will they be able to pull in because of where they are and because they're not even a threat to the Warriors or anybody in the West. And next we got Lord Lucas on the draft lottery saying, morons for saying the Sixers would make the playoffs next year in the East. Come on, man. A healthy Sixers team can easily make the playoffs. I know what you're talking about. I'm the one that threw it out there that, hey, maybe with some more picks here, maybe with what they can add this offseason, maybe the Sixers are a playoff team. Maybe people start expecting that, especially if they can get a point guard like we don't know if Fultz will fall. We don't know if Ball will fall. We don't know if they'll take De'Aaron Fox that high. They can go ahead and make this a serious run, and they can, to me, build themselves to where we at least start thinking about them for an 8th or a 7th seed. Probably an 8th seed. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but they're a team that me has a lot of potential. However, like Sean said on the fast break, it kind of depends also with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons' health, because if they can't be on the court, there's no way the Sixers are going to make the playoffs. Next, we got Javadoc Tante on the draft lottery. NBA is losing in all-time ratings and money, especially after the TV deal. Expect the big money markets teams to go 1 and 2. Huge imbalance in the league with big market teams having no advantage in free agency when endorsements can be had anywhere, taxes can be better elsewhere, and reporters and columnists don't invade your life. Most of all, no difference in salary. Knicks 1, Lakers 2. Well, and you were kind of right. And the reason you were kind of right is the Lakers were 2, but the Knicks weren't at 1. The Boston Celtics kept their 1, but your point is still valid, because by having Boston and LA number 1, you get, first off, the league is hoping 2 point guards go to each team. Fultz and Ball kind of building up a little rivalry this offseason between them, especially with both of them saying, you know, I am the best point guard in this draft. And then you've got 2 teams that are kind of rivals in this league. Boston, Lakers, building them back up, getting the Boston-LA rivalry back going. That's what the league tried to do with this, and I totally agree with what you're saying. The big, it doesn't matter now to markets to me where teams go, because, I mean, like a LeBron James could go to Cleveland, go Miami. Miami's not as big as the New Yorks, the Chicagos, the LAs. Look at even LA, how many times they've been snubbed by free agents who have chose to go elsewhere. So it's one of those things where free agency is kind of a little wishy-washy in the NBA, but when it comes to the big markets, this was the league saying, hey, we've got to build this rivalry back up to get it back to Boston and LA. And then moving over to the Kyle Lowry story, we got Nosek saying, I don't think Lowry can change a franchise. I think if he went to another team to be a star, it wouldn't work. And that's kind of the thing that, reading this comment, I think about, well, really, who was the star in Toronto? It was DeMar DeRozan was the star for the Raptors. Kyle Lowry was kind of his too. So to me, that's why the Spurs, to me, would be the best fit other than Toronto for Kyle Lowry. He wouldn't have to step in, wouldn't have to be that star, and could just do his thing in Popovich's system and Popovich's team. He could step in, let Kawhi be the star, let LaMarcus Aldridge be kind of star number 2, and he could kind of just do his thing. Other than that, staying in Toronto, he doesn't have to be the star there because you have DeMar DeRozan. So that, to me, I love this comment. I think it's very true, and that's why on the podcast I said the Spurs are probably the best team for Kyle Lowry. And then moving on to the mock draft, we got the Black Sensei. Damn, Ricky, so damn dumb. Why do they have to get rid of IT4? Why not just bench Fultz like the Celtics did with Jaylen Brown and just pick up a star free agent to keep completing? Don't mortgage your future, and don't draft of need like a dumbass. Do not trade the most complete prospect for some other star that LeBron James has already beat the shit out of. And this is one where, to me, the Celtics could go anywhere. If you draft Fultz and want to sit him, cool. That's a good move. If you want to go with Josh Jackson to get a guy that can add to a position that you need, go ahead. Cool. If you want to trade it for a veteran that can help your team, you can do that as well. The thing with this pick is there's no one answer to this. And most likely, let's be honest, Markelle Fultz will probably be the number 1 pick. And to me, the big question, and now we can have this conversation because of what has been going on in the Eastern Conference Finals, this is a question I kind of want to pose to you guys is, can the Celtics win a title with IT? Can they win a title with Isaiah Thomas? If the question is no, then draft Markelle Fultz, groom him to be the point guard of the future, and then when IT's contract comes up, either say sayonara, I hope the door don't hit you, or let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, or trade him at the trade deadline before he leaves. You have options, but to me, it all comes down to what is this team going to do with IT, because you don't need to get rid of him. But it comes down to, are you going to be able to win a title with him because of the money that he is going to demand once he comes to free agency at the end of this contract? And then our final comment comes from Ezel Cox. It says, Celtics should trade the picks. What do we know about Fultz? Super talented college team, won 9 games. Are you kidding me? Love the kid's game, but that's bad. Trade the pick for a proven commodity. Go and get Jimmy Butler and find a rebounding big man. They don't need a point guard. Isaiah Thomas needs a partner. Fultz won't be ready to play championship ball for another 4 years at the very least, when most of these guys will be out of their primes. When you have your window open, you don't assume it will stay open for years to come. You play for right now. Love what you guys do. And Ezel, thank you. We love what you guys do, commenting on our videos every single day. And this was kind of a topic that we talked about for next week's videos. Next week's podcast is, should the Celtics trade the pick? And with Fultz and what Ezel was saying, and why I used it to kind of end the show here, is, to me, there's a problem when you're supposed to be the #1 prospect or the #1 draft pick, and you could not lead your team, could not carry your team to the NCAA tournament. There are, what, 64, 68 teams now that make the tournament, and you could only win 9 games. And I know the excuse, Sean Anderson has used it here at the Fast Break, is, oh, but he didn't have anyone around him. So if that's me on an NBA front office, I'm saying, can he lead the team? Can he be the guy to do it? Because Washington had guys that were decent. They didn't have guys like the Kentuckys and the Dukes, where it wasn't like a Jason Tatum playing with a Luke Kennard, but Markelle Fultz, to me, should have been able to at least try to lead his team to the tournament. I will say, completely different situation than Ben Simmons, though. Ben Simmons didn't make the tournament because he gave up on his team, and that was one of my big criticisms with him last year. Ben Simmons gave up on the team. Markelle Fultz, I just have that kind of question of, if you couldn't make the tournament in college, why should I think that you're going to help lead my team to a championship, especially with the Boston Celtics, who, like I said before, are you sure IT's the guy that's going to lead you to a championship? I know the LeBron window, we talk about it all the time. Ezel just mentioned it, but I can't help but think about the Washington Nationals. When I hear about that window open, they had their window open. They sat Steven Strasburg, and the window closed on them like that. Like, right now, the window's becoming back open for them, but if you see that window open, you got to go for it. And why go with the guy that's going to have to develop? And to me, the whole getting rid of IT, replacing with Fultz, is just going to set the franchise back. I don't have an exact answer of the correct one. Obviously, everyone has their own opinions. This is where I kind of turn it on to you. I think that IT, I'm starting to lean towards, no, you're not going to win a championship with IT, and maybe Fultz is the guy you draft. But if you draft him, you got to look at it to where you're not going to be the same place, and you might be taking a step back. So let me know what you guys thought of any of the comments. Continue the discussion down below in the comment section. We will be back next week with either myself, Sean, or Dave to kind of react to more of your comments and continue the discussion down in the comment section. I want to thank you guys for checking out this video. Let us know what you think of this kind of comment respond video. And as always, have a good day, everybody.